Now I can hear. Hello.
You can hear me. Okay. Is it okay if I show you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
There you are. Okay. And I had this adjusted for Fraser earlier today, so forgive me. I started off by revealing Fraser with his really bald head. Yes. So
It's
no,
fair.
no more bald. Guys, no more
So
bald.
I found a fabulous picture of a very young Fraser that had fabulous curly hair.
Well, we saw that with the virtual star party video. He did have hair in that one.
So no. I'm talking about like I found photo of like 20-year-old young hip happening Fraser with lush curly hair.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If you do a
I
Google
please.
image search on Fraser Kane,
Mm-hmm.
it will turn up and it is kind of amazing.
Okay. Everybody in my chat's doing that right now. Everybody's doing it. I guarantee it. So how is the stream on CosmoQuest, guys? If you haven't follow CosmoQuest on Twitch. They just hosted over. It's a citizen science project, and they do amazing science. Dr. Pamela is a major part of that, but also she has other guests that come on and talk science too here on Twitch. So go and follow and support in ways you can. So how was your stream though? How was the AAS conference stuff?
Today actually went really well. They totally got all their audio issues sorted, and I just learned something new that is awful and fabulous.
I'm ready.
Okay, so the press conference that we just watched was entirely about an object that, because of the nature of how we name random things that go bright in the sky, it landed on the name AT 2017
Moo
cow, if I got that right.
You did.
The important part is the last three letters are cow.
Mm-hmm.
And Bad Panda Bear asked, okay, so if you can end up with an object that's named cow, does that mean you can end up with an object that is ass? Because the way we name these things is the first supernova of the year is year number A. The second one is year number B. And then we go all the way through until we hit Z, and we start over with AA, AB, AC, go through until we hit ZZ, start over again at AAA, AAB.
Right.
And we just keep going.
I
And
didn't
if we
know
got
if that
to
was
COW, that implies we went through ASS.
Right.
There was totally supernova 2018 ass.
There was a supernova ass, guys.
I'm not sure why this fills me with so much delight.
That's amazing.
But it really does.
Yeah.
And the fact that at some point we're going to be finding so many supernovae a year with Large Synoptic Survey Telescope that we're going to have four-letter telescope, we're going to have 4-letter supernova names.
Oh, great.
I am so deeply amused.
That's going to be
so
wonderful.
Very deeply amused.
2030 FUCK.
Yeah, it's going to be a thing, people. It's going to be a thing.
I was hoping that they kind of did the same thing as they did with Supernova or Supernovae and listing it as, that's what I thought. Because I kind of went over that. I'm like, yeah, it landed on cow, guys, which everybody's going to have a heyday with. They're like, ooh, cow. Because I was looking at this stuff. I couldn't figure out the audio. Like, it still was super quiet. I even listened to your stream. And it's weird because I can hear you, but I couldn't hear them.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're just like blacklisting me.
It sucked up until I think today was the first day.
Well, no, I tried today. We even showed your stream. Yeah. And I couldn't hear it even through your stream. But, like we were watching all these videos and stuff talking about, because I knew that the thing that they were going to be talking about was this, and I can actually just play it in the background, the white dwarf that got destroyed by the black hole, which I don't know if they're addressing this. So they're estimating that the black hole is anywhere between what, like 100 to or 1,000 to
Yeah, they're
like.
saying it would have to be an intermediate mass black hole.
Right.
We haven't really found those.
Right. So how are people just skipping over this?
I think at this point it's one of these things where nobody's answer makes any sense, and we haven't read the papers, and the research papers are like 20, 30 pages long. So I'm betting Ethan Siegel asked a question during the press conference where I think the person's response can best be summarized as, bless your heart, read my paper. But that's not what she actually said. What she actually said was, oh, you know more about white dwarfs than I do. Lots and lots of words. In my paper, we write lots more words. So result one was, do not ask questions as though you're telling the person that their discovery is full of shit. They will very politely tell you you're full of shit.
Right.
And response two was, there's so much that they just don't have time to say in 4 minutes at a press conference that is buried in the details of their paper.
Yeah. Yeah. What does she mean as an intermediate? So black holes, we know stellar mass, right? And we know supermassive. So stellar mass, like between 5 and 100 solar masses. And then you've got this area, and then you go to the supermassive, which are in millions, billions times the mass, And then you've got like, we've had these like, where's this middle? So we go on.
What's super confusing is we haven't really seen gravitational waves from them yet. We haven't seen them directly yet. And they should be out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we've looked at so much detail in the sky at this point that the fact that we haven't found them yet is super annoying.
Right.
Now, admittedly, they're black. They don't give off light in any wavelength unless they eat something. And I think that's part of the justification for saying, well, maybe this is an intermediate black hole. It's because it explains everything. And maybe this is that one way we can find them, is when they eat something. And this gives us a sense of just how quickly that can take place and how briefly their accretion disks exist.
Yeah. And the pictures of that, did you see some of those pictures on that press release of the, I'm trying to bring it up right now for other people.
So intermediate mass is larger than stellar mass and smaller than supermassive black holes in the cores of galaxies. So they're a whoa, I hit the wrong button. I've been streaming since the sun was up and my lighting went to pot on me, and I'm now trying to figure out how to fix everything.
That's happening to me right now.
Yeah.
My light's going away.
Stupid planetary rotation.
Yeah.
It'll get you every time.
Yeah, and right now I have the picture up. I'm taking away our cams right now. But yeah, this is the picture, guys, of when they first got it with the Sloan Digital Sky Survey, where it would appear. And then it popped up in June of this year using a different telescope. I forget the LT. What's the LT? I don't remember.
I don't know.
This one's the William Herschel telescope over here. But yeah, you can see how much it dims the galaxy here. And that's what we're talking about. And when this came out, and I was talking to everybody in here, I was super excited because I was thinking, well, maybe this is like a GRB. I don't know. I thought GRB for a bit. Then I was like, no, but it's kind of behaving like a supernova. Remember, I think we talked about it. Maybe I'm just, I don't know.
It's hard to keep track of all the objects. All I know is it now looks like we have been labeled as you are part of the Sloan Digital Sky Survey, and I am clearly being observed from Tenerife at the moment. So yeah, it's a crazy object. No one knows quite what it is. And it got super bright, faded away. They observed it with everything they could possibly observe it in. Its light curve doesn't really match anything that makes complete sense. It just matches stuff that make kind of sense. And there's two completely different models. Either a star getting shredded by a black hole or a weirdo supernova. And because these kinds of things only happen once, we're never going to get more data on it.
Yeah, this
And
happened in a galaxy pretty far away, though.
it's about 2 million light years away.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, this was something got really, really bright. That's what you're seeing outshone the whole galaxy, which can happen.
Oh, it's quite common.
Yeah,
Supernova, by
quasars.
definition, generally do that.
Yeah. And so 200 is within our own galaxy. At 200 what? Itmo? Oh, it's a
200,000 is within our galaxy.
200,000 what?
200 million. Okay, I dropped 10. I thought
It's okay. We've been streaming
it's
science
been a
for
long day.
It's been a
It's
long
been a
day.
long day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is not an easy thing. 200 million light years away. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
pull up the press release before I inadvertently lie more to the audience. There were some absolutely hilarious images where I just wanted to like go, not to scale. You need to label everything not to scale, because they had their space telescope was like the size of the continent of Africa and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because the other picture is looking like the Milky Way, like us. So a lot of galaxies do.
Yeah.
We're a spiral bar galaxy, an
It's
SBC.
completely boring and common.
So there's a lot of galaxies that look very much like us. But see, we can't get an image like this of our Milky Way, which if I actually take away my face here, you'll see the galaxy. We can't get an image like that. That would be a bird's eye image, and we can't do that. That would be a long journey. A long journey. Photons would not be received by humans, probably.
Yeah, we just simulate it from here on the inside.
Yeah. So we take guesses based on looking at other things and, like she said, simulate it here from what we see elsewhere and how things move and, taking masses and objects may appear closer in your monitor than they are. So you got to actually listen to a lot of these things, right? With the AAS. I wasn't able to because of the audio situation. Maybe they just don't like me. Maybe they are like, Skylias is watching us. We're just going to turn down the audio. Audio's going to work for literally everything else.
I think this may be one of those rare times, and this like never happens, that because I'm on a Mac instead of a PC, I was able to do stuff with my audio settings that you don't have to do. And so I have software, because my OBS is mean and lazy and does not handle audio. So I have to use software called Loopback to capture my audio, and that gives me just like one extra layer of audio control that allowed me to crank things up a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's never better to be on a Mac, except for that one time, apparently.
So how bright was that cow in magnitudes?
So it wasn't very bright. So there's an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to it. It's AT 2018 cow. 200 million light years away. I totally goofed the distance. Thank you for correcting me. I
thought it was pretty bright, but it's not as bright as the quasar that Chillforge was talking about, the oldest quasar that they found. That was like 700 million times.
That was super cool.
As bright as this, or what was it, like 700 million suns?
So its discovery magnitude was 14.8, and the Wikipedia article doesn't bother to say what wavelength. I'm going to guess that's a visual wavelength or one of the SDSS similar, it's in the optical somewhere wavelengths. And so that means you probably couldn't see it in normal binoculars. Under really dark skies with like a 12-inch telescope, you would just start to be able to do a good job with it.
Yeah, high energy X-ray. Let's see. Yeah, they're not. I'm sure it's somewhere around here. We're just not. Yeah. So they still think it's their this is one of their theories, is that it could be this?
Yeah, well, so the only thing that we know for certain is it's an object that appeared and faded.
Uh-huh.
And they observed it across a whole lot of different wavelengths of light
Right.
with a whole lot of different telescopes. And none of the observations make 100% sense for it to be a supernova. And the observations don't make 100% sense for it to be a black hole consuming something. But it looks like it could be either if it's just slightly off the mainstream, if it's just a little bit weird. So then it becomes a question of which answer did the scientists make a more compelling argument for?
Right.
And at this point, both sides seem to be making equally compelling arguments.
Yeah, so okay, so it says the explosion is about at least 10 times brighter than a typical supernova. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not uncommon for a supernova to outshine its host galaxy. That can happen.
No.
So, but
It's
still, it's
totally
super
part of the
cool.
definition.
Yeah, literally. Like it's it's actually cool though that they caught that here. The how it actually, because it's so cool to see those pictures where it actually shows how it dims the galaxy with its
And
brightness.
And it's simply a matter where they go from taking the longer duration exposures because it's a fainter object to having to not take as long an exposure because they're trying not to blast out their equipment. It's like you don't use the exact same exposure time if you're looking for a full moon versus an eclipsed moon, and there's an eclipse next weekend.
Yeah.
You use completely different exposure times, and that makes the moon look fine in both cases, but completely changes your ability to see surrounding stars.
And you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm just sending this to you. This article here, because Chillforge actually, I don't know if they talked about this. They probably did at the AAS stuff, and that's what I was going to ask you. What some of your interesting, like what interested you the most out of some of the stuff that they talked about? I know there was a lot of researchers that couldn't go, a ton.
Yeah.
You know, I saw those
Yeah, I
tweets.
was one of the ones who
Yep.
couldn't go just for slightly different reasons.
Right.
So we sent another one of our streamers from CosmoQuest, Annie Wilson, to the meeting, and she'd never been before. She had good research to present, and we knew that she would, as a human, benefit the most from going. And one of the things that she sent me photos of was just this entire line of empty spaces where normally Space Telescope, Science Institute, posters, presentations about science coming out of the Hubble Space Telescope would have been hung. And instead it was just blank because none of that science could be told. And seeing tweets coming out from researchers from the National Radio Astronomical Observatory saying that if the shutdown doesn't end by late January, travel for their scientists is over. February, they have to start shutting down their telescopes. And starting to get the full sense of how fragile all of our careers are.
Mm-hmm.
How lucky those of us who do have multiple sources of income really are. I lost my massive NASA grant, but I have Twitch.
Right.
And never in my life did I think I'd be saying something like that.
Right.
But it means
right.
that I get to pay my cell phone bill. Uh-huh. Whereas if I was working at a NASA center, what the heck would I be doing?
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah. No, it is. But yeah, I'm sorry. That just hit really close. Like, just, but you have Twitch,
Yeah.
So in that case, and that's why, guys, again, I encourage you guys to go over and pop over to CosmoQuest and help them out if you can. There's still, where are you at with the goal right now?
So our goal was to raise $60,000. We went live with our fundraiser right after they shut the government down and the Dow Jones collapsed. So when that happened, I kind of knew we wouldn't be hitting our target.
Mm-hmm.
We are now, last I checked, we were at about 36,000. And I can actually look at that right now. I have that open. And it's even a bit more scary for us because before the shutdown, my plan was to spend this week basically reaching out to people at the National Science Foundation, at the Department of Energy, at the Department of Defense, and say, hey, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
But now those people are out of work. And so all the places I would normally go to try and raise money,
Mm-hmm.
they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
And today we got emails out. These are just standard automated messages coming out from NASA that the next round of proposals that would normally have been due for lunar scientists, their deadline is pushed out to be announced.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the deadline should have been next week. And you'll spend quite often 3 months working on writing a proposal, pulling your team together. You put it all together, budgeted very specifically with certain starting dates. And when the grants get delayed, well, it means you're going to have to go back and revise them when the new deadline is to make everything match the new dates. It also means, however, that if you were counting on that money, there's now a 0% chance you're going to get it. Because let's say you have a successful program that's been going on for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
You put in your initial proposal for, say, 3 years. They accepted it. They liked it. You got your next proposal for 3 years, accepted it, liked it. And you keep renewing, you keep upping your game, you keep expanding your results, growing, building on what you did before. And all of the sudden, the cycle gets broken. Well, that means you have a discontinuity in your salary. You have to go get another job. Something happens.
Mm-hmm.
That research might be gone forever. Because once you're gone, you're not coming back generally.
Mm-hmm. Correct. You
How
just
many
gave Cosmo.
scientists
I'm
are we
sorry.
gonna lose?
Sorry, CosmoQuest just gave you a sub. Love your work. Crutchy just said that. So people are going over there.
Much.
Thank you guys for supporting them. Okay, go on though. Sorry. It was just a good, nice, happy news. But go on.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm opening up our events list so that I can have it in front of me, so I can say thank you to Happy Things because I opened entirely the wrong thing. Okay, apparently I'm not going to have that in front of me. No, it's just right now I'm seeing all the trickle down effects are already starting. Yeah, the first paycheck gets missed on Friday. But they've already canceled review panels for proposals that should be getting reviewed now, that the acceptance letter should be going out in the next few weeks. These are people's lives. This is going to be an entire generation. People who had grants that were supposed to renew in January didn't get the renewal letters. If you were at a small university with no excess funds, you probably had graduate students that were counting on that to pay their tuition, to pay their salary.
Right.
And we pay grad students like way below minimum wage.
Right. Right.
And these researchers had to turn to their students and say, I'm sorry, the government shut down. I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if those are international students, they might be paying 4 times the tuition as an in-state student. And so now not only did they lose their tuition waiver, they lost their job. They now have to come up with, like, if they're lucky, only $20,000. sometimes way more than that. And if they don't, they're out of college, they lose their visa. All of the effects that can come out of this, it goes so deep and so far reaching. And this is going to create a brain drain as well. Trump announced that federal workers will get no pay raises this year. So this means that you have our smartest people working on science for all these different agencies, the CDC, all of these different places, not just NASA. I saw a researcher lament that watering their plants and taking care of their experiments wasn't considered essential tasks. So they're banned from their labs. All their plants are going to die. They're going to lose multiple years worth of research. They're going to leave. They're going to go find something else, and they may find it in another country.
Yeah.
This is what's called a brain drain.
Yeah, Mick, you make a good point. No matter what your political opinions, it's hurting Americans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah. And that's why you guys can go to this link here if you want, right here. And if you want to contribute to CosmoQuest, because they've done a lot of stuff with real science. So we want to allow them to still do science. And the Osiris Rex mission, so Dr. Pamela was helped, and so did her team, in building the software needed to find the spot, to find the rock,
yes,
to bring back home and study part of an asteroid. And so we can learn about solar systems, about asteroids, about these minor planet objects, or these planetesimals. You can say either way. Actually, they're both probably underneath that category.
Accurate.
But, yeah. And so to be able to do that, like, this is actually something that's, I mean, Skynet as a whole, we gave money to that. And so, yeah, it's so that she can still pay her people and they can get the science done, so that we can say, hey, we're doing science too still. So, you know, that's kind of what's going on there.
To lay it out there, this is for my people.
Right.
The money that we bring in through these donations, those are going to not hire, but to retain the young researchers, the young programmers that we have working on our team.
Yeah.
I don't have money to contribute because I don't have a paycheck right now, but I have a husband who pays most of my bills. And I can sell artwork to pay for my cell phone.
Right.
Another sentence I never thought I'd be saying.
Yeah, I know.
This is what we do in order to keep things going. And so far we've brought in $36,118.
Yeah.
So it's.
Does any amount matter? Yeah. Any help helps. Any help helps.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and the reason, another reason, and I've said it, everybody's heard me say this before, but you guys wouldn't have me talking about science if we didn't have Dr. Pamela. So, like, me being able to support her during this time, and science. So, you know, like, this is science. This is actual science, and her retaining her crew is super important. And, you know, you wouldn't have me without her. So, you know, it's least we can do.
Thank you. Only one unit. I see the donation you just put in. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's something. And Joe, can we actually add, Joe, this link into the CosmoQuest command, my friend, so that we can have that on there, so that if that's where their donations are going to be going. So since the event is over now. Actual science. Right?
Yeah. And if you go to cosmoquest.org right now, you're just going to see a maintenance screen. And the reason that you're seeing that is one of the side effects of losing our funding is we now have to go through the website with a fine-tooth comb and make sure our language is accurate everywhere on attributions and things like that. So as I go through and verify all of our language so that none of us get in trouble,
Right.
We're going to be putting everything live, and we're also relaunching a brand new version of our software. And Tanner is out there in the process of redoing our tutorials. We went from a staff of 4 programmers and a designer to Tanner and me with help from a designer who, yeah, we're still working on it.
Yeah.
So it's all going to come back. It's just going to come back slowly.
Yeah. And I want us to bring home a piece of asteroid. I want it to
And
be a
we
good
do.
choice, you know?
Yes.
I want
Yeah.
it to be using the software that your team has put together. And yes, that's what I would love. I would love to bring back a part of an asteroid and be like, guys, we're studying this. We're going to figure stuff out. That's really, really cool. Asteroids are really, really cool.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
and the thing that is so frustrating is, so we got our big grant back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Osiris Rex launched in the fall of 2016. We took all of our students, we took our entire local team down to the launch. Susie Murph from Atlanta went with us as well because she was along the route, and we picked her up and we drove. And here we are. We wrote the software, we tested the software. Our spacecraft went into orbit on New Year's Day, and that was the day we lost our primary NASA grant. Now, Osiris Rex is still paying for our servers to be kept on. We are still part of the Osiris Rex mission, but it's not enough money to keep the whole team together. It's just enough money to keep the servers on and maintained because the software's done.
Right.
Other than like whatever updates we have to make because like Chrome changed. We've had that happen to us. And so to just get so close to have our spacecraft enter orbit just stabs the heart of all those students that worked so hard for so long.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Why would they just pull it kind of late? So I don't know what happened.
So back in August, we were warned that with James Webb Space Telescope not launching, the spacecraft costs went up. The mission had been previously capped at no more expensive than $6 billion. Current estimates are $6.8 billion. And that money has to be found from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like NASA's going to get a bigger budget just because they broke their spacecraft when they shook it.
Right.
And there were some policy changes. And the culmination of those two things and me switching institutions was our funding got zeroed. It was one of these things where I got offered the chance to move our entire team to the Planetary Science Institute. And moving grants is perfectly normal. It actually like documents everything you need to do, as this is a totally normal thing to do on the NASA website. And I put in my resignation on a Tuesday. My new institution was going to talk to NASA that Friday about what needed to be done to move the grant. Thursday night, after business hours, NASA canceled all of my funding, all of it, for CosmoQuest. And we're now at this amazing new institution with over 100 research PhDs working on a myriad of spacecraft around the world, changing our understanding of planetary surfaces one world at a time. We're in this great place finally. And we get to rebuild, and we'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to do it because of all of you out there watching, because of Skylias and
and your lovely community too. You've got a lot of people, that know you from Astronomy Cast, all kinds of stuff, probably even previous citizen science projects and such. So, but it's so keeping that going, and we've added that now to the command. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
I'm
Joe
so sorry.
awesome.
Joe's amazing. I honestly hope a better project will be on the horizon.
So we are in the process of finishing up a project that I'm super excited about. It's one to study glaciers in Nepal, and the scientists that we're working with, she worked with the Sherpa communities where she had the Sherpa go out and deploy the cameras on the glaciers. And there's data, like in some cases, where you can see as the glacier moves, the camera slowly moves over sideways. And are we getting rated? Is that why all of these stoic faces are?
This would be Fengrish rating in. He has a doctor's appointment. It's
a rather daunting raid.
It is. Bend the knee.
Your Hale Sagans are happily smiling.
Oh, no, that's Stannis Baratheon. He does not smile.
No.
No, not especially at this time. At this time, no smiles. Nope.
I understand the lack of smiling, but it's a rather intimidating chat right now.
It's wonderful. Isn't it beautiful?
Really is.
It's supposed to be. That's the intent. It's supposed to be. Thank you, honey, for the raid. But go on. You were talking about a project. Hey guys. Hi guys. Hi everybody.
Hi.
We're talking about we're getting into a little bit of just like some grant stuff, but then we'll get into talking about whatever's right behind me. Which is actually
Okay.
Not behind me.
So we're getting ready to work on a project called Glacier Lakes, and the scientists that we're working with, Juliana from Science in the Wild, she worked with the Sherpa up in Nepal to deploy cameras out on the glaciers to watch how the lakes on the glaciers change seasonally, how the glaciers move. Basically, how is our world changing from year to year? And there's some amazing imagery where you can like see the cameras move and tilt over as the glaciers flow. And we're going to be comparing this ground truth data that was collected by the people who are most affected by the loss of glaciers and satellite data that was taken by the Landsat spacecraft. And we're, like I said, we're just in the process of finishing all of this up and double checking all the language on our website. And as soon as we're comfortable with what we have, we're going to launch it out to all of you.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you were doing another thing like that.
Oh, yeah. It's you know, the irony is if we stop all because our funding stops, we'll never get funding again.
Right.
So if scientists want to keep sciencing, they have to keep going even when they aren't paid. And this is why it's possible for people like me to have a job, to have a title, to have a work email address, to appear on the Planetary Science Institute website, and have zero salary.
Yeah.
It's a normal part of being a scientist that they don't talk about very much.
Yes. I just had a beer delivery. Thank you, honey. Yeah. JCM, thank you for sharing your Prime. Thanks, JCM. Is that Dr. Pamela Gay? It is. It is. In fact, just so everybody knows who this is, and we played this one earlier, but I'm just going to play it real quick. You're just, I have to. Like, I actually have to. This is a requirement because everybody probably doesn't know she's an amazing, amazing woman. And not just for this, but for this. I'm going to take away our webcams for a second, even though you're going to see mine looking like it's still there, even though it's really not there. Look, I'm playing tricks. So here we go. Here we go.
One of the major
Okay, so don't even tell me she's not amazing. Bodied. That's right.
One of the major
that needs to be clipped.
One of the major
See, that's Dr. Pamela. That's right. Okay. So sorry, that is an important clip. That is always something to keep. There's a reason that one's there. Savage. Yeah, she shushed him twice. Not once.
My favorite is the second of "God damn it, just be quiet."
I know.
Basically my body language on that.
It was so great. It was so great. I did send you this article though. Oh yeah, we were looking at all kinds of astrophotography today. I did send you the article in GChat of the quasar.
The Villanova one. Yes.
Yeah.
Barnard Star.
No. Is it? Did it? What?
Wait, no. I got two different things sent to me.
You're
Which one is
spacing
this?
too much.
I am spacing way too much. Yes, sorry, this one.
This one's
Yes.
crazy. This is the oldest quasar?
It's the oldest quasar, and what's cool is the only reason we can see this is there is an intermediary galaxy going, and I shall bend you to my will. I mean, that's not what it's actually saying.
See,
What
wait,
it's
the
actually
emote would
saying is,
apply.
I've got gravity, and I'm going to bend your light. So the way I was explaining this earlier is I have this little tiny glass bead. And in general, as I move the little tiny glass bead further and further away, it gets harder and harder to see. And the light reflecting off of this glass bead is going in all different directions. And not all of the light reflecting off of the glass bead is getting towards the camera. Now, with this particular quasar, there's this intervening mass, which we're going to have be the Tasmanian devil. And this Tasmanian devil has so much mass that its mass is able to bend light that normally, and this is where I really need a third hand, and I don't have one, but light that would normally be flying past where my finger's pointing is instead going to bend around over towards the camera. And so light that wants to go this way is now going this way because of that intervening mass. And because we're getting light that wasn't meant for us, because we're stealing somebody else's ability to see this quasar. It appears so much brighter. And unless we find another freak alignment like this, we're not going to find another quasar this distant for a long time.
JC and bending the light. Yeah. So I'm actually showing a picture of this behind. So, I can take away me for a second here, and then you guys can see again what she was demonstrating there is you have this galaxy right here, and I can actually make this way better so you don't have to see my tabs, and everybody gets super annoyed by my tabs. But yeah, that galaxy got in the way between what we're trying. So here's a telescope, galaxy's in the way, and we're looking at this, right? And this galaxy.
So the purple blob there is my Tasmanian devil.
Yes. So this galaxy is, in its mass, bent the light and magnified it. So it acts like a kind of like a microscope. Like we can actually look closer at it, even though it's not intended for us to see it. And see, it says multiply. Wait, no, that's going to do the funhouse effect, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is doing the funhouse effect over here, where you can see it actually bends the light, and sometimes it can double the image or multiply it by a few. But yeah, that's what happens when you have mass. Mass will actually bend light. So that's what she's demonstrating there.
And I love this effect in particular because of all the crazy things you can do with it. I had an office down the hallway at the University of Texas from someone who did theoretical work in gravitational lensing. And I don't know what got into him, but he decided to run the equations backwards and figure out, if I want to lens a background quasar so that it looks like a smiley face, so that it looks like a penguin, so that it looks like, well, whatever I want it to look like, he figured out what shape intervening galaxy or galaxies would be necessary to do all those crazy patterns. And I just love what board scientists can do with math.
Oh, yeah. 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 And what's cool about this one, though, so going back to that, right, is the, what was it? Yeah, so it has a redshift about 6.51, which translates to a distance of 12.8 billion light years.
Yeah.
So this is a quasar that we see that's 12.8 billion light years away.
In a 13.4 billion year old universe.
Right.
So our universe went from 0 to 400,000 years later. It had atoms and became neutral, and the cosmic microwave background radiation was formed. To stars started forming roughly 1 million years after that, maybe a little faster, maybe a little bit slower. And this galaxy had time to like fully form and have a black hole in its center that was actively eating stuff in basically, so 13.4 minus 12.8, that's
They're saying it was after
0.6 billion years.
Yeah, so right
That's
around
600 million years.
right around the time that photons were free. They were free. So what that means is photons were trapped for a while there. So would this be after reionization?
This is, well, so the period of reionization took a while. It wasn't like the whole universe suddenly went, we're no longer neutral light show paths.
Right.
So this is the point where we have a patchy universe where some of it has been reionized, some of it is still like, I'm cold. And this is these early days that we really thought we were going to have to wait for the James Webb Space Telescope to study, but JWST refuses to get its butt off the ground. And geometry gave us an additional way to look back at this time that otherwise we couldn't see. And the amount of new physics that has to go into stuff like this, we only realized a few years ago that you could very quickly form massive black holes in the centers of galaxies through turbulent processes, where basically, because all the stuff was tumbling inwards, if it's flowing in fast enough and it's turbulent, that turbulence allows the process to go faster than if it's trying to go in an orderly manner. This is completely counterintuitive to everything. Like if you go to southern Italy, you will learn getting on buses is a challenge because they do not queue. It's easy to get on buses in Britain. But with black holes, it turns out that turbulence, that chaos, allows them to feed and form faster.
Yeah, and they also say here that it causes. So I was just showing people while you were talking about this, because you're blowing people's minds with that. So I just decided to make it worse, right? Like I usually do. Where I say that the quasar, they're saying it appears to shine with a combined light of 600 trillion suns. Boosted by the gravitational lensing magnification, but still 600 trillion suns. So, and it says that, what was the other part that was really, really cool in this? And I'm totally spacing where that was. It was something talking about right here. So, observations. Okay, so there's a certain telescope, Mauna Kea, that suggests the black hole is not only accreting gas, but maybe triggering starbirth. And pretty much it's an insane rate. So they say it might be up to 10,000 stars per year. By comparison, our Milky Way galaxy makes 1 star per year. That's so sad.
This massive rate of star formation. Normally, we can't see galaxies themselves at this great of a distance. We can sometimes make out like galaxy clusters and stuff like that, but in this particular case, we're able to do so very much more. And the important thing to remember is we're not looking at a black hole. We're just looking at the glowing shit trying to fall into the black hole. This is a giant glowy donut of material spiraling towards its death as this galaxy works on pulling itself together. And it looks like you have a video of this.
Yeah, I was about to say you're not wrong at all, because you're like, this is shit glowing, and I mean, it was perfect. Like you and I were syncing up there on another level. No one even knew. I was just saying, like, she's not wrong. I mean, this is absolutely yeah. No, keep going though. Like with what you're saying there.
Yeah, it's. So we have all the glowy accretion donuts in the chat. That is exactly where they belong. Now I'm hungry for dinner. So here we have a system that has most likely undergone turbulent inflow of normal material. It probably exists in a giant dark matter halo.
Mm-hmm.
It formed rapidly as one of the very few galaxies that forms. Most galaxies form through small things coming together, and they collide, and angular rotation spins them out.
Right.
Angular momentum spins them out. And we have this bottom up building of the systems. And there used to be a debate of, do all galaxies form through the merger of smaller galaxies, or
right.
do all galaxies form by giant inflow of material? Turns out the answer is both.
Both.
But the rarer answer is systems like these.
Yeah, because I mean that's the first thing that comes back. You know, you're looking at something this old, and you know, you would think, obviously, if you go back this close, like things were closer together back then, right?
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always been kind of the question, because I get asked, people ask all the time, you know, so with did the black hole come first in a galaxy, or did the galaxy come, you know, did the black hole come after?
One furry tangled mess. It all came together at once.
Yeah. And this stuff is really, seeing right now. Presumably the matter in the universe was a lot denser. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
Things were a lot closer. Yeah. There's more stuff, more star formation,
and
way more than we have now.
It was more evenly distributed.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look out in the modern universe, in the nearby volume, everything is in this really empty Swiss cheese pattern.
Mm-hmm.
As you look further back, you start to get to baby Swiss cheese with smaller bubbles and a much more closed lace feel. As you go further and further back, you have less and less structure and a more even distribution of stuff. It's never completely even. Even when we look at the cosmic microwave background, there's bumps and structures to it. But those structures are smaller because it takes time for things to grow.
Yeah. Kayak, that's what I was just saying, is that, it was more dense. It was more things were closer. And like she's saying, it was more ordered. But this is
Michael
entropy.
is asking, isn't the distribution affected by the clumping of dark matter? Yes. And even early on, dark matter itself wasn't clumped up as much.
Right.
Everything has clumped up over time. And one of the cool things that we're just starting to learn is there are occasionally places where luminous matter clumped up with no dark matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears there are places that clumped up with dark matter and pretty much no luminous matter. But mostly it's giant dark matter halos with a little bit of luminous matter in the center.
Right. Wow, that's really cool. And did they, with the AAS, this is totally taking another link, mind blowing. I know. Gravity wins again. It always does. I tell you guys this. Gravity always wins. You can apply that in your life personally, or or in terms of you know, a star dying. Actually, we're able to see less and less distance over time. Zoto, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, we can see.
It's that cosmic, that Hubble horizon stuff, right?
Yeah, we see
the cosmic horizon.
It's one of these hard things of it's all moving apart, but it's all coming closer. Yeah, it starts to become philosophical at some point. I'm going to shut up. I love luminous matter too. That dark energy though pisses me off.
Dark energy or dark matter?
Dark matter I'm kind of okay with. Dark energy pisses me off
because
it makes the math much harder and has no reason to exist.
How much does dark matter contribute to supermassive black holes? Ooh, good question.
I don't know in detail.
Me neither.
I know people have done modeling and it does contribute. I just don't remember what fraction.
Yeah, I know our galaxy, they're estimating is what, like 90% dark matter, right?
I want to say it's 70% dark matter, 20 something percent.
No,
sorry,
it's the universe.
70% dark energy, 20 something percent dark matter, and then 4% luminous. I may be off somewhere in there. I'm hitting that point in the day where specific numbers are gone.
Right. No, that's the universe. I was talking about our galaxy. Is like 90% dark
galaxy,
matter.
I don't remember. Those are numbers that change every publication.
They do. They do. When I was doing a lot of research with that stuff, there was numbers all over the board, but I did kind of settle on the 90. But yeah, no, you're giving the stats for it's like, I usually just round. I don't give like the exact ones because those change too. Those with the universe and what it's made up of. How is dark energy created? Go. Dr.
No
Pamela,
idea.
go. You got this. How? But you got a PhD. And then everybody's like, no.
One of the things about dark energy that just pisses me off is as our universe expands, like I was initially taught, and when I went to university, it was mostly, but not entirely, before dark energy was found. And I finished all my coursework before these papers came out. So what I learned was we have a set amount of mass energy in our universe, and that's all we've got. That's all we're ever going to have. Mass is conserved when you take into consideration E equals mc squared. Now, the problem is our universe is expanding, and as near as we can tell, every cubic meter of space for all of space, as space expands, has the same amount of energy in it. So when the universe was tiny, every cubic meter had one amount of dark energy in it. The universe got bigger, still has the same amount of energy in it. Expands more, still has the same per cubic meter, even though there's more cubic meters. This is not conservation of mass energy in the normal way we think about it. Dark energy, calling it energy, it is not like related to kinetic energy, gravitational potential energy. It's its own thing, and I wish we hadn't called it energy. So maybe I'm mostly pissed off about its name. But the fact that it's a constant per unit volume and not a constant per universe makes no sense. And theorists grasp onto things like our universe is suspended upon a scalar field. It's part of a multiverse. This is energy leaking in from another universe. All sorts of different reasons get given.
Energy leaking in from another universe?
People come up with things.
I mean,
it's a thing. Why not?
Why not, right? I'm going to just say it's energy leaking out of a Dyson sphere from another universe.
Well, they say that one of the reasons that gravity is so weak is because gravity mostly is hanging out in a different universe or a different set of dimensions. And theorists, I'm very happily an observational astronomer. I wait until observations prove or unprove a theory, and then I'll stick it into my brain.
Yeah.
It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
It is turtles all the way down.
So no, we can run through the series of questions that I get asked every day. What about white holes? Do white holes exist? White holes?
They exist mathematically. They don't exist in reality because the second any mass energy falls into them, they collapse, and our universe is permeated by the cosmic microwave background. So no white holes. Same problem with wormholes.
Right.
It's
right.
sad.
And never ending. And so what about Dyson spheres? Why aren't we creating a Dyson sphere around our sun?
First of all, we would probably end up trapping too much heat in it and bake ourselves. Second of all, we don't yet know how to do that. We struggle enough with, like, my dog fence falls over. How am I going to build a safe and secure Dyson sphere to live on the inside of? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of demands. Let's figure out our world before we have to figure out how to transform all the mass in our solar system into a Dyson sphere, because that's a whole lot of Earth moving. Watch the Expanse series. You can see how hard this stuff is.
Right. And so what about wormholes?
Yeah, same problem. Second mass falls into them and they collapse. This is why in science fiction they always talk about unstable wormholes. It's because mathematically they can exist up until the point mass enters them. E equals mc squared, cosmic microwave background will just collapse them away.
Yeah, because someone was like, it's not hard yesterday. It's not hard, just fold it. Just fold space. Sky, it's not that hard.
If only, because I want the Stargate universe, just with fewer Goa'uld.
Yeah, guys, trust me. If you know how excited I would be for some of this shit? Like, you know, if these were things like, guys, white holes exist, you know, and hey, hey, Dyson spheres, guys. Yeah. Tabby Star is actually a bunch of aliens. There's a mega structure there. It's definitely not dust. I mean, it would be just use the force of free will. That's right. It's the strongest force, apparently. Someone told me.
If only.
I know. No, I actually had someone tell me that my pen wasn't falling because of gravity. But that it was, maybe if I could use free will, then maybe my pen would not fall. I'm not kidding. I have a very interesting career. I got to admit,
This spoon does not exist.
Right. Right. Just use the force. But yeah, no. And, we need so there is that Jantic. What are you talking about? I can never pronounce it right. Alcub.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out that one. I was good with the Cree Jaffa, or Jaffa Cree, rather, just to say things in the wrong order. Do I want to Google this? I don't know if I want to Google this.
And Jantic, you just posted a link. I'm sorry, I didn't. Alcubir drive. Is that like the EM drive? I feel like Michael Gaudier might be coming to my brain with that.
Yeah, and I suspect this is something Fraser probably knows a lot more about than I do. He pays a lot more attention to the hardware. Fraser Kane, my co-host over on Astronomy Cast, he's totally a spacecraft nerd.
He is.
So an Alcubierre drive.
Alcubierre, apparently. Alcubierre.
Is a speculative idea based on a solution of Einstein field equations. It was proposed by Mexican theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre, by which a spacecraft could achieve apparent faster than light travel if a configurable energy density field lower than that of a vacuum, that is, negative mass, could be created. So one of the ideas that a lot of different science fiction shows come up with is we can travel through space by having space travel around us, which sounds super weird. I'm going to admit to that straight up. It sounds super weird. The idea is you sit where you are, you generate a bubble of space-time around you. You let the universe flow over you. You collapse your bubble of space-time and you pop out somewhere completely different. It's this idea of hyperspace, subspace, tesseract that comes up over and over in science fiction. Even in Dune, they talk about folding space, but they do it with their minds.
With free will.
And I'm not sure it was so much free will in Dune.
It's okay. I'm just speaking for that guy. It's fine. We'll never forget him.
There was a lot of spice involved.
Spice was okay. Someone just said it. Great knob. Way to take my line there. Way to take my line there. So you don't even feel acceleration. You don't even feel that you'd move.
No, there isn't necessarily any acceleration at all.
I just changed places pretty much.
Yeah. It depends on the way you do it.
So you're smiling a little bit.
I am. I like this idea of like jumping through space in science fiction.
Yes. In reality, though.
Yeah, in reality, we're kind of stuck here for the moment. Although I've been super impressed with Elon Musk's SpaceX has in 3 weeks constructed what looks very much like a 1950s sci-fi steel rocket that they're planning to hop around. And the Star Hopper, I kind of want a toy of it. It's adorable. And maybe we will, if we can't have a sci-fi future, at least go to low Earth orbit in something that looks like a sci-fi past.
Chat's being really funny. What is that thing going to be? The Star Hopper. What is that thing going to be?
So Starhopper's just a test craft. They are using it to figure out how to build something that human beings can be in, that they're going to hop around out in the desert. I believe that Steve Manley did some calculations on how high it can go, and it's not super high, but it's just to practice the concept. And the ultimate plan is to have a starliner that is coupled on top of a massive rocket booster. They lift off, presumably to the moon or Mars, with their heavy rocket booster. And then the starliner is capable of lifting off from wherever they land, presuming it has lower gravity than Earth, and flying home. So we're looking at being able to launch. So launch, remove your
Tasmanian.
stage, it goes off, it lands, then it takes back off, comes home, and it lands again.
I was so not expecting that to be.
He's working to build, and I am now going to use my Tasmanian Devil as a multi-stage rocket craft.
It worked. It really worked. I was not expecting. I was like, cool, you've got one object here, but no, then its head popped off.
Yes, everyone needs their multi-stage Tasmanian Devil.
I was not expecting that. That was, so it's the most brave this Tasmanian Devil. Oh, guys, wait till you see what her BB-8 went through. I mean,
oh man, yeah.
There's some speculations that you can do it on current tech, like a nuke reactor.
So there's the question of, do we already have all the pieces that we need? And do we know how to put them all together in the correct way? It's quite conceivable that we have all the tech we need and we have no idea how to combine it correctly. And that's another one of those plots of science fiction. And we've lived it occasionally with Apollo 11. They dumped out the box of everything that existed on the spacecraft to figure out, could they fix the air filters? And the answer was yes. They just had to combine things in a way no one had previously imagined. So I can't say, do we need to invent new science? Do we know the science we know already? What I can tell you is we don't currently know how to combine the science and technology we have to do it successfully.
Right. I sort of explain it. It's not in one sentence. Yeah, no, it's I feel like, did Michael Gaudier talk about this, guys? Or am I thinking that is the EM drive? He's the one that's going on the All-Stars, the All-Star party, Astro Tours party with us. And you know, Dr. Paul had an idea that I want to throw at you.
Okay.
So that, you know, Fraser and Dr. Paul can finally have it out about the Fermi paradox. Okay. And I'm going to be siding with Dr. Paul because, you know, I'm supposed to.
Okay.
I've not been paid. So, but, you know, I'm going to do that. And you're the moderator. And
I'm totally behind that.
Yeah. And Fraser can have Michael Gaudier.
Okay. And if any of you can't make the Astro All-Stars tour at Joshua Tree, but you still want to go on something like this, check out astrotours.co/Starstrider, because I will be taking people on a tour of the desert in late summer, in late August. But really, you want to go to Joshua Tree with us.
I know, really, you need to come to Joshua Tree, but also that too. It's just don't get in the van. Were you ever able to see that clip?
Did it
crack you up? Because he totally.
I loved the way he kept making the van sound more advanced. It's a van in the desert, down by the river, but it's a desert, so it's really down by the dry creek bed.
I'll show you guys that clip later. It was really gross. It was hilarious. Let's see. It's not only about putting it together, but also using it in the right way, right? Tensei, are you talking about the
exactly, about the developing technology that we need to get to other worlds?
Yeah. The science
And
fights, yeah.
so many things have so many unwanted consequences of how you can use them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I hear what you're saying, Michael. I would love to be able to go on all the tours as well, but I can only go on the ones I host and only if enough people sign up. So we're all in this together.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I won't keep you too much longer. Do you want to maybe plan to go and eat dinner in like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, and I will be back this weekend painting planets on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be doing that?
Yeah, and I'm about halfway done reading the book Metropolis in the evening. It's an old school science fiction novel. It like introduces the concept of androids before the word android exists. And it's just really cool to read what was really the first ever science fiction novel that has that mechanized future, and none of the vocabulary for it is there. So if you want to join a book halfway in progress, feel free to join me.
She does that. She reads. Are you reading that on CosmoQuest or your own? I thought it's on your own.
That's on Star Strider.
Yeah, because did you read that last night?
Yeah, I did.
I might have stopped in.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and narrating is kind of one of my side passions. So you get to hear my voice in its full glory.
Yeah, and you actually, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because I've been listening to your voice for forever, like at least 15 years now. Yeah, guys, Astronomy Cast. And when she read books, it's okay, guys, if you do fall asleep with your browsers on, and that's totally fine, because every time I listen to Astronomy Cast, I'd have to listen to the same episode about 10 times to make it through the 30 minutes, because her voice is so soothing that every time I'd be like, it's great about white dwarves. Okay, I'm just going to fall asleep. And then I'd have to pick back up. With this novel,
I've apparently given people chills and scared them out of their chairs a few times.
Ooh.
So.
Yeah. EU is so late. I know, but you can watch the VOD.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry. I am going to be doing a high quality recording for all of my Patreon people.
Oh.
But I have new stuff to make new jewelry, so I may be sending new goodies to you and your kiddo.
Oh, yeah? So, oh, yay.
I got larger discs so that I can make larger pendants and keychains, and I got a couple of shadow boxes, and I'm going to try and make a planet and a moon in the shadow box. So we're going to see what's possible. That's
going to be awesome. And yeah, Jantic, I listened to Astronomy Cast too. I knew you sounded familiar. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
That's her. That's her.
13 seasons.
Yeah. 13.
Yeah. I'm old for a podcaster.
Yeah, she's pretty OG, guys. Yeah, wow. I know. I took a nap while listening earlier, and I had the stream. I was flying in I was in space flying near a black hole, and then the white dwarf, as you narrated.
That's kind of awesome.
That's kind of amazing. We were talking about that, yeah, and your mind was creating it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can actually let you go and eat, because you've scienced a lot today. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And at some point we should make plans for the eclipse and see how
see what everybody else is doing. World. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Will you go take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon.
Sounds great. I will see you all later. Thank you all. You are all wonderful.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, friend.